So I thought I'd do something a little bit interesting. I've written up a quick top 10 science fiction and horror based films that incorporate both elements. Now, in this list, some films I don't actually think are better than others, but I think maybe they incorporate the science fiction and horror elements better than the other films that are there. Anyway, okay, so here we go. Number 10, It, Terror from Beyond Space. This is a science fiction film from the 1950s. It's a B movie, and it's about a crew on a spaceship that go to a planet to take a crew member from another crew who is under suspicion of killing his own team. Now they're taking him to Earth to be judged, and this crew member claims that it was an alien that killed all the people. And when they take him on board their ship, the alien does in fact sneak onto their ship, and the majority of the film takes place in the transit while the aliens try to kill people. And it sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? Well, I think it is very much the sort of main influence on the idea for Alien and Aliens. There's things in it like, you know, the crews barricading themselves in places and holding up away from this alien that really is reminiscent of Aliens, and obviously the whole setup is reminiscent of Alien. The only thing that it suffers from is the fact that suffers from man in a rubber suit syndrome, where the alien looks a bit naff at times, but you know, it was in the 1950s, and it's a really interesting watch when you realise what came on from it. Number 9, Aliens, James Cameron's sequel to Ridley Scott's masterpiece. Aliens is about a woman who had a previous encounter with an alien that wiped out her crew, and she goes back to the planet where this alien came from with a team of Marines to try to protect a colony that's supposedly there that they've lost contact with, and they wonder if aliens have sort of been involved. The aliens in this case are sort of animal-like and really quite frightening. It's really great because it works on a different psychological level from Ridley Scott's Alien. Alien is much more a horror film. It's about the thing in the dark that you don't know what it is. It's indescribable. You can't see exactly what it is and you can't make out what it is. But it's one thing, but it could be anywhere, and that's how it works. Aliens works more from the way that there's thousands of aliens, and it's like being under siege and overcome by something, by like this unstoppable force of all these hundreds and hundreds of aliens. So it works on a different level. It's more of an action film, but it does have some horror elements as well, and it's scary in certain bits. And excellent film, definitely worth a watch. Prince of Darkness, John Carpenter film about a university research team that get invited to this church, where the people that run the church have found this casket with green ooze in it in their basement, and they want this research team to investigate it. They're all sort of physicists and things like that. While they're there, the local homeless population becomes possessed, and they surround the church, not allowing them to leave, and they're stuck in this church with this casket and with this possessive force going on where people are being taken over, and it seems to be about the Antichrist coming through. There's a lot of physics involved, a lot of talk of science, because what happens is some of the people seem to be getting messages from the future while they sleep, and it's of an account of what happens if they don't maybe stop what they think is the Antichrist trying to come through. So, brilliant film, scary, got some great discussions about quantum physics. Number 7, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the remake. It's rare that a remake really is of much use, but this one is great. It stars Donald Sutherland, and it's about a small town where these plant-like pods come down from space. People don't realise, but what the pods do is they sort of duplicate people and take away their emotion, and people. That's when you might have heard the phrase pod people. And it's about a small group of people that start noticing everyone's acting strange, and they try to find out and try to get away from this alien infestation. Brilliant ending. Very scary in certain places, in my opinion, and really enjoyable. So I would definitely recommend that. Number 6, bit controversial, Ghostbusters. Not much of a horror film, but there are some horror elements in it. I think the library ghost qualifies at the beginning. I think there's a few other bits that are a little bit creepy. But it is largely a comedy. However, it does have the horror elements. It obviously has a supernatural aspect to it, and it also has a science fiction aspect where, if you haven't seen the film, it's about a bunch of people that go to catch ghosts. They set up a business to do it, and it's in the technology that they develop where the science fiction element comes in. So I would argue there's a science fiction and horror element in Ghostbusters. It is more a comedy film, and it is one of the funniest films ever made. So definitely worth a watch. Number 5, The Thing remake, another remake, but by John Carpenter though this time, and it's about a small group of men in an Arctic research station who discover an alien that is able to mimic and take over people's bodies, mimic them, mimic animals, and it's about this small group of men in this isolated environment, not knowing who's the thing and who's not, and all about paranoia, and it's fantastic, and the creature effects, which were all done pre-CG, are phenomenal. Number 4, Forbidden Planet. It's a story about a crew of a spaceship who are sent to a planet to assess what happened to the colonists there. And when they get there, they find a father and a daughter living there in seeming luxury, but they claim that the other colonists have all died. And what they realise is that there's this unseen creature roaming the face of the planet, killing people, and that must be what wiped out the colonists, and they try to find out what it is, and there are some genuinely creepy moments when this creature's kicking about. So, and it's the template for Star Trek as well, Forbidden Planet. It's a great film. Number 3, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original. Similar story to the remake, but this time they don't really replicate the bodies, they sort of take them over when people fall asleep, and you could argue that it's about communism at the time being brought in, where people will be looking around in society and see people like walking zombies, or conspiring against free people, or you can look at it as the American government actually doing that to stop free ideas from being allowed to be shared. So it could be seen both ways. It's a really great science fiction film, and it's quite scary as well. Number 2, Alien. Don't really need to say much about this. It's about a woman, Ripley, who's part of a spaceship crew who discover an alien on a planet that attaches itself to the crew member's face and then bursts out of them, and then they're stuck on this ship trying to kill this alien. It's a masterpiece, visual masterpiece. It's wonderful. Run out of time. So I'll move on from that, but it's incredible. Number 1, the original, The Thing. Again, I think you can see ideas that were taken from The Thing for Alien and Aliens, especially with the motion detector, the idea of soldiers barricading themselves up away from this alien creature. But it's the same story as The Thing, only this time it's it's more like a monster. It doesn't actually mimic people, it's just more like this sort of big creature. Wonderful, fantastic. So I think I'm maybe running out of time. I've never checked, but anyway, that's my top 10. What would yours be? Science fiction, horror? You tell me. That's all for now. Bye bye.